is a small Mediterranean piece of heaven located south of Sicily, displacing just 316 square kilometers. It's quite small. As such, you would think it doesn't have much to offer in terms of car culture and automotive history. But you would be wrong. In addition to having a great number of skilled racing drivers living here, you will also find a good amount of automotive history as well. This is especially true for a certain place located not far from the center of the island, in the city of Bugiba. It is known as the Malta Classic Car Collection. It houses a great number of iconic classic cars, as well as other vintage objects true to their era. What better way to learn about the place than to speak with the man who started it all?
I'm Carol Galea. I'm the owner of the Malta Classic Car Museum. I've been collecting cars nearly 50 years, and lately, about 17 years ago, I built my own museum with my own collection. So we've been open for public 16 years ago. Till now, we was very successful. Obviously, we take care of the museum because it's a private museum. So I still collect cars even now, which I am 70 years old. This hobby, it came into my vein practically, and here we are today.
Okay, and now the quarantine is over, you're open again.
I hope. We've been 3 months closed because of the virus. Now we did open again this week, and we hope we go back as usual, because normally we do quite a good number of tourists especially, which they enjoy it a lot. We have 3,500 square meters. We have more than 90 cars. We have bikes, and the museum exists also, not just only bikes and cars. We have the cinema, which we have 2 cinemas in the premises. We are fully equipped for people with special needs, like elevators and all that stuff like that. And beside that, you will find in the museum, you will find mobilia, a lot of mobilia, miniatures models, which we have about 10,000 pieces. And our selection is more than on 50s and 60s, very early 70s, as models of cars. We have old jukeboxes, vending machines. We also have a collection which we bought from London. Ladies' dresses, the 61s and the 50s. So it's full. It's nice to be visited, and I hope we'll see you in our museum, which we need now to go back where we was before the COVID.
Well, hopefully that will happen soon.
I hope. We pray that it happens, and good luck to everybody. God bless everybody, and we have to stay, be careful for each other.
Of course. So, are there any difficulties and problems that come with managing such a place, and what are they?
Well, difficulty and problems, always. To don't have any difficulties or problems, you don't have to have nothing. And that, you won't have any problems if you have nothing. But if you have something, you have to take care of it. As you can see, our museum is famous, and it is even our clients. They say how nice it is, And beside that, on the TripAdvisor, we are 5-star, and we are the first attraction on the north, especially as a museum.
And how difficult it is to acquire certain object or car? Some of these cars are quite rare, and the objects as well. How do you acquire these?
Well, we do, as you can see, we do our own restoration as well for cars. Now the problem, if you don't find the part that you need, which before we start the restoration, we make research of the car, and we make sort of from where we are going to get the parts that we are going to need. If we don't find those certain parts, we have to make it up, which is my son. Have got a full engineering, and they can do whatever we need there. But obviously, first we try to find the original part. If we don't find the original, we go to reproduction. If we don't find the reproduction ready-made, we have to make it up ourselves.
So you're fabricating as well?
Yes, of course.
What is the first car? With what car started the collection?
Well, the car started with the Jaguar E-Type. In fact, on our logo, we have the Jaguar E-Type as a logo as well.
It's the red one that
The red one.
you go to the
Actually,
concourse.
it was a bottle green one, to be honest, really first one. But obviously, for a logo, we prefer to make it red.
It stands out more.
Yes, because a sports car, it's a sports car.
I agree.
It's always famous, more famous. The green is very nice, and I like the green. But as a sports car, all over the world, you will find the red sports car exists.
Yeah, I mean, I always think of Ferrari, for example, when I hear it.
Well,
But obviously, it goes with many cars.
Yes. Well, the red, it's not really belong to the Ferrari. Eh? Just to make it clear, the red color, it belongs to the Alfa Romeo. And Alfa Romeo, it is one of my favorite cars, because when you are a collector like what I am today, you will start thinking, instead of if you like this car or not like this car, you will start to find the real thing, very rare, and the story of the car. How many built from this car when they started, and obviously, and the Alfa Romeo, it's one of the oldest story in car history exists.
I mean, Enzo Ferrari started his racing career with Alfa.
But Enzo Ferrari, he used to work for Alfa Romeo. Then after, in the 50s, he wanted to make his own car. In fact, he done some cars which they took it from Alfa Romeo. They've got Alfa Romeo with a Ferrari badge as well, which they are both of them, you see? But then they drop it and they stay just only Scuderia Ferrari.
What would you say is the most valuable car in here?
Well, this you can't exactly say, because if you come in selling point, and you want to buy a car, it depends what you want to buy, and then it depends. Number one, if you find this car, the owner wants to sell it. So as a value, you can buy a car, for example, an Alfa Romeo with 30,000 euros, and you can find an Alfa Romeo which costs 100,000 euros. It depends the owner, because this is not like a new car. You go to the showroom and you say, listen, I want this car. If you don't have it in stock, I will order one. This is it. That's the one that will be. So you have to find that the owner wants us prepared to sell it.
What is your opinion about car culture in Malta?
Well, car coach, we have very little, let's say that. Because if you are talking about car coaching, it's something. But restoration, it's another thing. So when we say restoration, we say like these way, we say panel beater.
Mm.
The Maltese, they are excellent. The Maltese, they are excellent. They really do a good job. For example, there are certain countries that we call their panel beaters, we call them plasterers, because they start with paste and hard metal and newspaper to fill. we when we have something like that, we cut and we replace the panel. But the Maltese, as mechanics, on car working, I think they are one of the best people. The real name coach builders, it was on the 50s and the 30s and the 40s, but they used to build the car.
Yes.
You see, it's not panel beater, you fix the car, you build the car, because before, certain cars, for example, like a Rolls Royce or Bentley, whatever, on the 30s, you used to buy a Rolls Royce, you would buy the chassis, the engine,
And a bespoke body.
without body. Then you have to find a coach builder, they call it, that's what they call coach builder. They used to make even the coaches, like buses and things like that. And they will build the car on your specification. Some of them, obviously, you have to tell them what you want. If you want, for example, let me tell you an example. The most beautiful cars exist, as at that time used to be built by built coach building. They exist today in Argentina. Argentina, they have the most beautiful cars as classic, one-offs, because in that time Argentina obviously was a very rich country. So the families, they used to order the cars, they used to make the drawing how they wanted for that family particularly. When the revolution of Argentina began, these families, they drown these cars and hide these cars so the authority won't confiscate those cars. Today, I'm talking today, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they start digging even the soil, which they used to hide them, and they are doing the restoration of these cars. They are so beautiful cars. But they are made private for that family particularly. For example, like if they want to make some grills gold plated, silver plated, whatever they want, they can do it. You see, at the time. That's why these cars, they are beautiful made. It's not something like a production. It's like when you are building a house for you.
They cost tens of millions.
Million. And to see some of these cars, I will recommend to see in Italy, in Brescia, the rally of Mille Miglia, which they come all over the world to make this rally, which starts from Genova up to Roma, down to Roma, and they go back in 3 days.
What projects are you currently working on?
We have some Alfa Romeo going, and some Jaguar types, obviously, Mercedes. Well, whatever it is, we can wear.
So would you say the Jaguars are the most popular restoration car for restoration? Because I see a lot of them here.
No, I like, yes. You see a lot of them here, like you see Alfa Romeo.
And each of them is different.
Different, yes. Well, the Jaguar, it's a little bit more, in vertical brackets, easy to make a restoration. More simpler than a European one, like a Lancia Ferrari and things like that, you see, Mercedes. Well, which the Jaguar, it's easy, little bit easier to build. And it's easier to find parts on a Jaguar today, which are and not expensive, like, for example, the most expensive parts is, for example, Mercedes, which we have here, like the 190 and the SLs, the parts there, if you find them, they are very expensive. So people, obviously, they go for the price as well.
And the Jaguar, from what I know, they built quite a few back in the day, like maybe over 40,000,
Oh,
all
they
three
build a lot,
generations.
yes, they build a lot. Because that's another thing. The car, it will be the cost of the car. It depends the production that they build at that time. Because if they build 1,000, you will find a price. If they build 40,000, obviously the prices will be lower of a car, because there will be more in the market.
Okay. So who's doing the restoration? How many people work in the museum?
Well, it depends, because you have the restoration, you have a lot of people, like panel beaters, mechanics, upholstery, electrician, sprayer, so you need a lot of people. But you organize a team, and you will have the package, you know exactly what you do from this part to the other part, and you prepare for the sprayer, and you prepare for the panel beater. It's one whole thing as a packaging.
What cars do you like to add to the collection?
Oh, I'm sorry?
Is there any particular car you would really want to add to the collection?
Well, I've got a lot of cars, as you can see here. And we've got nice brands. And the cars that they are really collectible. But for me, I not even started yet. You see, because there is so many cars that I like, which I'm not going, obviously, in my life. I'm not going to reach all those cars that I really like.
One life isn't enough.
But no, definitely not. But at least I'm happy with what I have. You know, we've got a beautiful collection of Alfa Romeo. We have a collection of Mercedes, as we say, Jaguars, Austin Healey's. You know, we have quite a good number.
What is the car you're driving at the moment?
Well, the car that I drive during the week, it's a four-wheel drive SUV Volkswagen Touareg, which I love that car, because it's very comfortable, and obviously during the week I check. Then, if I go out, like Sunday morning, I like to go out with some friends having a coffee or something, I drive the Ferrari California. I like to drive that one. Sometimes I change it with a Classic. I go with Classic instead of with the Ferrari California. And if I go out with my wife or family or I've got a Bentley GTC, which is a drop head, the latest model of Bentley.
The 12-cylinder.
Yes.
What are the future plans for the museum?
Well, it's in these few minutes that we have, it's impossible to say what is the plans. Because plans, there is always, you know. It depends the time of your life, the time if you dream of something, you will say, but now, can we do this or do that? I think the museum will reach a standard that I think for Malta it's good enough. It's very good enough. What is the plans really is by time you change one car, you sell another one. You get a better, you know, upgrade the collection. But otherwise there is not so many things that we can do more in this museum. I think we have it all. No?
Yes, exactly. I mean, you certainly have plenty.
Yes.
And obviously, as you said, new ideas always come up.
Always come, always come. You never stop. I mean, you never stop from ideas. I've got a lot of things that in my mind. Sometimes I will say, I could have done this instead of that. But we are happy here. We've got the cafeteria, we have a snack bar, we have monitors which shows histories and stories about cars, we have the cinemas, I told you. We have a lot of things. So I think it should be enough. as a very big investment in the premises. We don't have nothing to do more than we've done. The only thing is you play with the brands of the car. You know, for example, a couple of weeks ago, we had a beautiful MGB, which I love, MGB. It's not an expensive car as a classic, but it's a beautiful classic. And the MGB, I like the MGB because the price is very low, so people can reach it very easy. Parts, you can, it's cheap, and you can find. I think it's the idea, sports car, even for our country, for our island, for Malta. So we sold this MGB. Now, obviously, my work today, it's on the internet. I see auctions, what's going on, etc., etc., etc. And we always replace, you know, with cars and bikes and things like that.
You keep the collection fresh.
Yes, always. Always we have changed, you know, from one year to another, always we change about 25% of the cars, let's say that. From one year. In fact, we have clients that they come, tourists, they come again, they say, oh, you've got this new, or you changed this, or you had this and you send it, you know. Yes.
I guess that's one of the things that makes people come back, and obviously the
It could
atmosphere.
be, yes, it could be. But, as I told you, a very important thing that we have as well, which it's one of my favorite things, is the library. The library is very, very popular, that people, they come here, even from abroad a lot, which they are doing the restoration, or they are thinking to do a restoration. For example, to give you an idea how it works, before we close of the virus, I had somebody came, called me, send us an email to make sure that we are open, blah, 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 because he's intent to buy a car. He's got a car in his mind, and he wants to do the restoration himself, which we have a lot here as in the library, in our library. And so he came here, they went to the library, we made some photocopies for them, you know, to study the restoration. So they went back to England with the intention to buy this particular car, and they start doing the restoration.
That's amazing.
Yes, the library is very, very, very popular. We have a lot of books, a lot of information, a lot of details. You know, you can sit in the library, which we have. From the library, I have a nice view of the cars, so people spend hours and hours and hours spending here in the museum.
Well, I myself I'm thinking of restoring a car sometime in the future, so
Yes,
maybe
of
I'll
course.
make use of the library.
Yeah, why
So-
not? Why not? That's why we've done it. You know, that's why you've done it. As a price, you don't pay nothing extra. It's when you come in, you just pay a fee. You know, of 10 euros. At the moment, we are cheaper. We try to make some discounts, so we start again. But the normal, it's 10 euros, and you can stay the whole day, which you have a lot of monitors showing a lot of histories about cars, and we have the cinema, which we show rallies and races. Well, as I told you, the library, there is so many things to see.
Well, Carol, what you've done here, it's amazing. And
Thank you. I know, I think so, yes. I think so. Sometimes, even myself, I don't realize what we have done, to be honest. Because when you start something from nothing, the place itself, it was an old hotel, a big hotel, which I bought. I knocked it down, and I wanted to sell 3,500 square meters for my private museum. But today it became public, you know, because we've been asked so many times to open for public. It's nice, people loved it, you know, because especially the tourists, they come here and they say, oh, I've learned, I got my license on one of like these cars, or that car, or my father had this car, or you know, I mean,
Nostalgia.
a lot of nostalgia, a lot of different things. You know, at the moment we are a little bit down because of this situation.
It will come up, I'm sure.
I hope, because normally here we will have at least 130, 140 people a day, all the time. So, but
Well, Carol, thank you very much.
you're welcome.
It was a pleasure, as always.